Hi, today we're going to be tackling a tough topic, and we're tackling that feeling when you feel like your kids would be better off without you. And I really want to do this video because this is a common thing, and it happens for two reasons. And so we're going to talk about those two reasons, but really this does not spare anyone. I find this with people who are successful, people who are not successful, people who have all sorts of intensities of anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, people without anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. I find this with everybody. This is a thing, and there's two reasons. One of them totally sucks. We're going to talk about that, but it has a very simple solution. And the other one is good, but it's really painful and also has a simple solution. Now, the solutions are not necessarily easy, but they're very simple and they're easy enough. So I want to give you hope about this. I want you to understand what your brain is doing. And I want you to know what to do when this starts to happen in your inner world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So, my name's Rachel McLeod. I am a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And so, the brain has a beautiful process for this that works super fast. It's phenomenal, and this process gets stopped and impaired. And when that happens, it's not doing this awesome thing for us. We're going to have more symptoms. We're going to have a lot more of this feeling like your kids would be better off without you, and we're just not getting health and wellness. Your brain cannot go through its process for doing that. And even though you might be like, come on, let's be healthy, let's be healthy. If this process is blocked and impaired, it's going to be very, very difficult. But if we just get this up and running, which is simple to do, then but it's different, and it's a little weird because we're working with a different part of the brain. But when we get this process up and running, you'll watch your brain resolve symptoms fast for you, bring you clarity of thought, insight, new strategies, courage. We need a lot of courage when we're raising children. And your brain's designed to be a factory of courage making, and solutions and strategies for synergy with you and your children, regardless of how traumatized you are, how anxious you are, how depressed you are. Your brain is designed to do this. And as it's doing this, it's also resolving the anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress for you. So this is really, really important. It's really powerful. And I don't want you to stay on this part of the journey very long, and not very often. But okay, let's dive into what this is. I am going to full nerd on you today, because I think the more you understand what's going on here, the less afraid you are of it, and the more you're going to be willing to dance with it, and you're going to take the right action. When these things are happening, I don't want you lingering here. This is not a place to hang out, pitch a tent, get your cabana. No, we need to get up and out of here, and you need to know what to do. And if you understand your brain function, you'll get this right. If you don't, there's so many errors that our brain will make and that we're conditioned to make that just makes this spot worse. So, let's dive into that. Okay, I'm going to start with reason one that you feel like your kids would be better off without you. And that is because this process is impaired, and instead of making health and wellness, your brain is creating many distortions for you. And it's making them for you, which means that they're designed for you. They're designed to feel right. They're designed to look right. And it will amplify the focus, which is, my kids are better off without me. This is not reality. And it's a distortion, and your brain is manufacturing it, but it will feel real. It's hard to, if you believe this, it's hard. Your brain made it for you very well. It made it seamless for you. And that's a tricky place to be. But if you get your processor running while you feel this way, your brain will sort that out and will resolve the distortion and say, oh, I'm sorry. We were wrong. Let's figure this back out. Okay. Now, with this, I want to come back when we are working with this specific part of the brain that unblocks this natural healing process that we have, and this upgrading function, and the synergy creation, and the health and wellness creator. When this process gets unblocked, the part of the brain that we're working with is the survival system, and it's designed to receive safety signaling through the body. So it's not going to work if we come up top and we say, hey, you're safe. That part of the brain doesn't care. It's not designed to work like that or just respond to that. It's designed to take specific signaling from the body and say, oh, we're safe. There's many, many, many of these signals and ways of sending those safety signalings in. I teach 4 interventions, and I teach 3 of them for free. They're my 3 favorite interventions, and I have a free program called Interventions for Inner World Transformation. But I want you to know these interventions are weird because we're working with a different part of the brain than we've been working with in traditional talk therapies. And this is vital because everything I'm going to talk about is contingent upon this process working so that your brain can resolve this for you. If you are trying to resolve this from your brain, if you're trying to convince your brain to that, no, it's fine. This problem is not fixed. If you fix this, this is not fixed. If your brain fixes this, it's fixed, and we got to walk it through its process for resolving this. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about the interventions here. You can dive into my program and try that free program and try these interventions out for yourself, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But we've got to get this process unblocked. And so the distortion creation is when you're experiencing life, but your survival system is blocking it, and it's not letting it go up to the executive functioning, the word center, the solution parts of the brain, the strategies, the resources, the morals. It can't get up there. This information can't get up there to be utilized to understand the world better and more accurately, right? So you actually can't get your reality creators, right? All this sensory data is part of how you understand reality. You can't even get that up to the top of your brain. So you're going to watch your brain make distortions and not reality. And other people are going to be like, hey, what planet are you on? In what reality are you existing in? Because you're actually not getting the information through your processing that would weave your thoughts and make them into reality. Okay, I don't know if I said that well enough, but your brain is back there. It's like this big quilt maker, right? But it's one of those looms, but it needs these threads of reality everywhere, and it needs to put them together. Otherwise, you just have all these what are those things called? Fabrics? No. The material. They're just together, but they're not woven into reality. The top executive function parts of your brain that's designed to do that. And so what will happen is this reality information doesn't get through. It actually uses it to create symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress, fight, flight, freeze, faint, fawn responses on repeat. And so this is a process where it's not going well. We're making it worse, and we're making it worse, and we are actually creating more and more dysfunction. Once you get this process open, which those interventions do quickly, they take about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. They start right away, and you're actually manually operating your survival system to be in open mode and let this healing process run, and you will watch this run. And you will watch all this sensory data run through the top of your head, and you'll watch insights, epiphanies, and new thoughts. You'll watch new words, because this data is actually going to those parts of the brain that are firing off, wiring, working for you, and it's weaving in reality. Okay, so we're coming out of this distorted belief that your kids would be better off without you, the lie that this is. Okay. So that is solution 1. We just really got to get that distortion processing. Your brain will take care of that. All of a sudden, it shifts into problem 2, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But we're out of distortions and we're into reality. Now, when I'm working with people, we are working this a lot. I don't explain tons of these things because let's just get to work. Let's get your processor open. You're going to see and feel what that feels like. It's going to be awesome. Watch your brain cook. Okay. And people are like, whoa, is this magic? No, this is healthy brain function. Okay. Let's go. And I'm going to try to keep people out of intellectualization here. I'm going to try to keep out of explaining. I don't want to do any prefrontal cortex ideas at this point. We just want to manually operate this because your system is already trying to get a ton of sensory data processed, and I don't want to slow that down. And the prefrontal cortex, who I'm going to talk about and call out in this video, will slow this process down. Okay, if you're stuck in intellectualization, worrying, thinking things through, trying to figure it out, your prefrontal cortex is being overactive and is actually interrupting and hijacking this process. And that's not your fault. That's brain function, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do about that. Okay, because we need everyone to work together now. This is a negative place. This is a not fun place. This is a place of destruction. We need to get out of this spot. Okay, so we're going to try not to do a bunch of prefrontal cortex stuff. It can't solve this problem. We're going to come down to the survival system and be like, hey, buddy, I see you're using survival mode a lot. Let's help you. And we're going to help it the way it needs it, which is through the body. The interventions I teach are tapping things, breathing things, tapping and breathing, body movement things. And they work. They're my favorite because they're fast and they have a high likelihood of influencing your survival system well. I've only had like 2 clients who these interventions didn't work for. So, and then we had to pull some stuff up from the back, which is fine because there's so many strategies. It's just, we need the intervention to work, and we need the intervention to be something you can use a lot, because by the time we're here, there's been a lot of backup on the processing. And so we've got a lot of stuff that needs to get a backlog. We need to get that processed, because all that backlog is your health and wellness that's about to be created, your mental and emotional and likely physical health that is about to be activated and used and converted into your health and wellness. We need that off the backlog. We need that moving through the process. But if that process isn't open, your system will be doing a lot of stuff to keep it back there, keep it suppressed, keep it down. And then you don't have the health and wellness to come out of this problem of feeling like your children will be better off without you. Okay? So now we're here in problem number 2. And problem number 2 is now your brain is processing. Okay, this happens to so many clients. I have experienced this myself. Your brain is processing, and now you're getting a good look at reality. Your brain is weaving things in, and you're seeing reality. You're having epiphanies. You're having aha moments. In my case, I'm coming out of dissociation and into reality, and I'm like, whoa. Right now, you see how your trauma has impacted you. You see how your trauma has impacted your children. You see, you are realizing your lack of healthy skill here. You're realizing the impact of generational patterns. You're realizing a lot of things, and your realization is ahead of your skill set and your subconscious programming. Your brain creating healthy subconscious programming. I feel like there's a picture I could show you. I think I'm going to draw one for you here in a second. Oh, yes, I got one. Okay, stay with me here. Now, your brain will make programming and rewire programming after realizations are made. Now, you don't have to be consciously aware of any realizations for your brain to begin to shift your programming. However, at some point, you're going to have realizations. And if you get into a position where your conscious realization is greater than your healthy programming, because your brain's going to make you, once it sees reality, it's going to be like, and this is why we have to really keep the processor open. This is going to freak out your prefrontal cortex. It's going to freak out, like your realization center is going to be horrified. That's going to alert your survival system. It's going to think we're under attack, and it's going to want to go right back into a survival state. And so that's why we're going to need to use a lot of interventions during this time, because this is disturbing. So, but what happens here is your programming is going to lag behind your realizations. And as you get more skilled with this brain work, you just be like, oh, well, let me just help my programming catch up. No big deal. Like, seriously, you just get to that. But when you get to this first round, you come here, and here you are, this little person, this mama, this daddy, And you're standing at the end here, and then you're looking down this cliff into the abyss of nothingness. Your brain has not created anything at all. It needs, and you see, and then over here is your dream life. Excuse my handwriting. Your dream life's over here. And you can see this, but before you get there, you look down, you're like, and you'll actually see people's their mind body system do this. They will actually feel suffocated. The somatic distress is off the chain right here. It is high. And this is the place I call the end of the neural pathways. You're at the end. You're there and you're looking off the cliff. And your brain will be hustling at this point to build this out so that you will look down. And it actually, I'm going to make my own story up here. It'll actually, now that it's processing, it'll actually reroute to direct you to your dream life. And the realizations keep going and they'll meet here. And this will be really safe to walk over. This does not freak out prefrontal cortexes. But that moment before is terrifying. And what happens as you look over into an abyss, this is similar to what happens when people feel a black hole in their inner world. This is similar to what happens when they realize, oh no, I was going to say when they realize they don't know, but that's actually a really powerful place. And usually people, that's like a really great location. It's not usually this kind of distress. It's the realization occurring. This is the result of healthy processing. This is the result of seeing things as they are. This is why lots of people won't heal, because they don't want to look into the mirror of truth, because it will terrify their nervous system and they feel like they're not going to make it. This is why people don't go on healing journeys, is that learning how to integrate reality into your body, your subconscious mind, process all this sensory data and arrive here in reality in the present moment is really overstimulating. And when you have children and you realize where you're at for the first time, and you're like, holy crap, I've got to take these children to healthy land. And you're looking down the abyss. I don't know how we're going to get here. This is where it really starts happening. This is where not only are people horrified and it's massively neurologically distressing, there's lots of somatic distress, there's tons of emotional explosions and floods of despair, hopelessness, and I love these emotions. I'm going to tell you why in just a second, but hear me out, because I'm not leading you down the cliff. We're going to stand there at the cliff. Don't jump. Don't go in there. You really don't have programming for it. There's no reason to go in there and spiral out and lose control and need to be hospitalized and stabilized. Don't go in there. Let your brain cook on it for a little bit and work on it, and you will watch it build beautiful programming for you to get to your dream life. And you want to come to this place. This is an important place in the healing journey. And you'll get used to it, and it'll happen over and over again as you grow and as you get closer, or as you have more dream life to, like if your dream life shifts and now it's over here and your brain needs to get you there, you will come to the end of your neural pathways. You will get good at this. This is part of navigating the inner world well. It's like being a captain of your ship on the sea of life. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the bad stuff, but it's not bad. I love this stuff, but I love this stuff because what it becomes. And I'm going to tell you about that. I'm going to stop. I'm cheating. Okay. Okay. I'm being very protective of you. I don't want you to fall into the pit, okay, while I'm talking about this. Okay. When this happens, there's floods and explosions of despair, overwhelm, hopelessness, horror, discouragement, breathlessness, terror. That's a lot for your mind-body system to process, right? We talked about that processor being open. Once that stuff starts moving, your brain, your survival system registers this as pain, and so it starts closing down, and now we're creating symptoms and distortions and more distress that has to stay in your body. So we're likely going to see depression show up right here, because depression is a protective strategy to keep you away from the pain. It's not good. It feels terrible, right? But we're going to really use those interventions a lot here with all this process, with all these painful emotions of hopelessness, despair, powerlessness. Oh my goodness, yes, overwhelm. And we're going to make sure we're going to guide these things through the healing pathways. And maybe it's so intense that we can only get a little bit through. That's okay. We're winning. We're winning. And if we can keep you stable and healthy and not jumping over into the pit of despair, but just standing at the edge of the despair, or maybe taking a couple steps back from the despair, and we get that processing going on, all of that hopelessness. Okay, this is where I get to nerd a little bit more with you. Hopelessness, despair, are there. That's the raw material the brain uses to create courage and hope and new beginnings. It's the energy of new beginnings. You see, it's like I have goosebumps. If you don't love this, I don't even know. Okay, when you are here and your programming is behind you, it needs material to build this stuff. And it's actually this stuff right here is going to, your brain is, mind body system is going to run the data of, we don't have anything here, emergency, right? And that is hopelessness, despair. So because we're going down, but we're also going back up. Your system's reading the data there, and it's creating all this powerlessness and despair and hopelessness and discouragement. And so as processing is occurring, your brain is going to be rewiring and using that stuff and converting it to health, to hope, courage, and new beginnings. You need new beginnings. You don't have programming here. You need new programming. Your brain realizes that, our programming does not run that far. Our programming, we don't have it for that. We don't know what that looks like. So now it's got to create something new. So the newness is going to generate hopelessness, despair. And that is, your brain's designed to use that and convert that, metabolize it, and create courage and hope and new beginnings. You want this. I know you don't want this, but you do. But you don't. The better you get at running hopelessness, despair through your mind-body system, the faster it moves. And pretty soon it moves to the back. It's not all in your face because your system's good at it. It's like, I don't need your help. The brain brings things forward in your face with the things that aren't processing well. That's why people with lots of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress symptoms, it's in their face with it, because the brain is like, I need help with this. Don't you see this? Help me. And you're like, I don't know. You do know, okay? You do know. You're going to know. You need to regulate your nervous system. You need to talk to your survival system in its native language and send it safety signaling. And all of a sudden, all that stuff your brain's putting in your face is actually going to process through and become your health and wellness. So when people get here to this space, when I'm working with them, we've got a lot of processing going on by this time that in reality is really coming in strong, and they're holding it well, and we're moving forward. Does not take long to build this. There's so much. It's actually the amount of distress in this spot makes the neurological build faster when it's processing. This is not one of those things that it's like it's a slow thing and it's like, we need to wait for a new shipment of materials. There's material got here, let's process that. We're waiting on the material to get here so we can build more, process that. No, this is like buckets and tons and truckloads of distress and information. All the materials here, you just got to fight to get it processed. In the beginning, you're fighting because you're also want to freak out. But it's a fast build. People stay in this less than 2 days, less than 3 days, when they've really been working with their processor and they've really got a good strategy going on and they've got a good team. So during these 2 days, I need them not to use their prefrontal cortex. That's the homework assignment. I don't always say it like that, because this is not the work of your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex cannot fix this. It's not its design. If it goes and says, okay, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this, I'm going to strategize this, I'm going to figure it out, you are going to be here longer, because this has no business on the set. It's like the designer coming in and telling people how to actually make the work. It's like, no, you don't. You know how to build the program for it. You know how to, it's a program builder, right? But they need to do their expertise, which is process stuff, give words to it, sort it out, put the values and the morals to it. There's a lot of work your mind body system actually has to do before your prefrontal cortex is ready to come in. Remember, thinking comes last in healing and processing. Because if you're going to start thinking about something you haven't even read all the reports on, or is it going to be good? No, it's not. It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. And now you're going to go think you're so smart. And I'm not, no insult to you. This is prefrontal cortexes. You think you're so dang smart. And now you're going to go do the thing. And you just delayed us time. If we could have just sat here for 20 more minutes, regulating our nervous system, instead of going and running your idea, you would have made a better idea and we would have hit it. So this is a place where we want to process pain. We want to process hopelessness, despair. We don't want to think this through. This is where we are holding ourselves, we're rocking ourselves, we're using our interventions, we're getting hugs, we're crying, we're doing all this nervous system regulation work, I don't even want you to think about doing mind body work. I want you to just do body work. The more support your body gets, because it's the slowest part of the process, it's the slowest processor. Your thinking center is so much faster. It doesn't need your help also. And then your subconscious mind, pretty fast. Your body has to do the physical work of metabolizing all the chemicals and the thoughts and the feelings and the old programs. And it's the one that needs the help. Okay. And this is not, this little spot right here. This is not the playground of the prefrontal cortex. This is the playground of the subconscious mind. Subconscious minds are designed for this. The prefrontal cortex is looking over the edges. The subconscious mind is back there like, ooh, we're going to build something. Guys, get ready. Get ready. It's our turn. Put me in, coach. And that's their expertise. They love this stuff. While you're freaking out, they're back there, party time. They're about to do what they do best. Create new things. Create something out of nothing. Create something that has never been seen in generations. They are going to cook. And you want to get your prefrontal cortex out of there. So you following all these ideas that it would be better off with my children or without me is not the most helpful thing right now. But if you're going to do that, which could be, I mean, if we put it together with processing, we've got a healing strategy here. But I need you to know that this is a healing ground. This is where you do a system. This is where your system's doing a, let's review this deeply and make something. We need something really big and powerful that we've never seen before. This is a, you know what, I'm really overwhelmed with distress. Let me just regulate my nervous system for a couple of days. This is a new build. This is an opportunity for something really, really powerful. It does not feel like it. It does not feel like it. But what your brain is doing here, if it's processing, is this is going to be amazing. This is where you get the courage to move forward, the courage to try, the courage to keep moving one foot in front of the other. This is where you get the courage, the inspiration is part of this, the inspiration, the new inspired action. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to watch yourself have thoughts and think thoughts that you have never thought before. This is going to, I mean, I could go off here. I wish I could, but it's like it after this also your body feels different. It's lighter because you just you went to the depths and found stuff that you would have never found if you had not come to the end of your neural pathways and had a huge flush up, an explosion of distress. That is the material of healing. We want to use it well. This is really the spot. And I want to tell you that what our children need in this spot where you're seeing the reality of how much your trauma has impacted them, it has. Your trauma has impacted them. And it was supposed to. Until it gets processed, it's going to. However, as it gets processed, it's going to become also the solution. It's going to also become the immunity. It's going to also help them heal, help them grow. This is their life journey too. They were born into this generation. They were born with into this line. They could have picked a healthier line to come and incarnate with. I don't know if we get to pick. I'm just making up a story. But this is theirs. And so they're going to get this, but they also need the solution. And that's what you have the opportunity to provide for them. You do not have the opportunity to provide them with not being impacted by trauma. That's not a thing. Your children are being impacted by your trauma. They are being impacted by your anxiety, and they're going to be impacted by your healing and your wellness and your new solutions and your new ways of being. It's like, yeah, you're going to give them the problem, and then you're also going to give them the solution if you're healing and processing. Now, if you're lucky enough to do this work before you have children, congratulations. Not most of us did not do that. I don't know about you all, but I uh, absolutely raised babies with a raging anxiety, depression, and traumatic disorder, stress disorder. And I wish I had it. But I'll tell you what, they get the solution. Every solution you get, every healing, every wellness, every processing you do, you're handing your kids higher and higher and higher ways of being. And I want you to know your kids want you, and they need you. And they don't need perfect parents. They need parents that are processing, that are healing. That's it. And I look back, I had a traumatized mom who did her best to heal, and there were not great strategies at that time. So there's that. Um, the only thing I wanted from her was for her to be healthy. If she had been healthy or healing, it would have been phenomenal. And in the way she did heal, it was like a breath of air. It was like the glass ceiling expanded. Also, you what your children need to see is that we have problems, we overcome problems. We have problems, we overcome problems. We have problems, we overcome problems. Nervous systems that are not processing cannot overcome problems. They can try again somewhere else. They can start a new project. Oh, that didn't work very well because I'm not processing. I can't make it any further. Let me start a new project. Okay, that didn't go very far. Let me start a new project. Okay, let me just give up. I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to just, right? We do a lot of things because our brain isn't processing. The simple solution is just if we're processing, if our brain is processing, we're going to have solutions. It's automatic to the brain. It's an automatic thing that happens. Brains are wonderful at this, and we will need to rely on that more rather than these beliefs and thoughts and feelings we have that our kids would be better without us. That is not true. And it would be such a miss if you didn't get to be the one to hand over health and wellness to your kids. I'm not here for that. I'm here for it coming through you. I'm here for it. Your children, yeah, okay, they're anxious. They have a matching anxiety disorder, or maybe they have an opposite anxiety disorder as you. Okay, fine. I want you to also hand them the solution now. You guys are going to be looking back and be like, ha ha ha, remember when we used to have nightmares all the time? Ha ha ha, right? Done. That's gone. Remember when I used to be afraid to say something to dad? Done. Remember when we used to be depressed and not be able to get out of bed for school? Done. That stuff's not supposed to be here, and a processing brain will resolve that the majority of the time. Right? There's some other root causes, right? Beyond those things like vitamin and mineral deficiencies and, things like that. That helps with this stuff. But with trauma, anxiety, and depression, that's resulting from processing impairments, which is the majority of them. That is a simple, simple fix. And it's not worth giving your life up, ending your life, losing your life to this, to a processing impairment. That seriously, sitting down and just working with your survival system will resolve for you. And it's amazing how quickly this turns around. And these things end up being your superpowers. These things end up being you. It's amazing what your brain will. I can't even tell you what your brain's going to do. I can't tell you the health and wellness it's going to just throw out there for you, the generational patterns that are going to end. It's just your brain's designed to do that. It's just going to do it. And your kids get to benefit from it. You're the one they're designed to get this from. You're the one. Well, this is a tough one. You're the one their mirror neurons are designed to mirror neuron with and to absorb the programming with. And gosh, Also, post-traumatic stress, when our processor starts processing, it becomes post-traumatic growth. If you experience that enough time, you can see what I'm talking about. You can see how powerful this is. You can see how we don't need to be afraid of the what if scenarios 7 generations down the line, right? Our brain is big and it likes to jump around like that. It's like, just process it now. Just process it now and see what it does. Don't let your thinking center go and think all the way through it. Just stop for a second, regulate your nervous system, use an intervention, talk to your survival system in its native language, and watch what happens. That's actually information for healing and growth. And so a lot of my clients, most of my, I want to say all of my clients, but I don't want to, I'm going to leave it open there. When there's trauma in the inner world, there's so much undevelopedness in there. There's so much undevelopment that as their brain starts processing this stuff, it's like, oh, that doesn't belong there. Let's put it here. And it starts really correcting it. And then it looks at it again. And it's like, let's do a couple more things. It's better, but but it's absolutely wiring this thing for health and wellness. And then we're looking at your life and you're holding better boundaries. You're more regulated, you have more room. I was just talking to a client today that's just more grounded, more regulated. Before she had none, and now she's got this much, and she's like, I feel it. And she was complaining about being emotionally volatile, which I absolutely get that. And we get to complain about that because those complaints are how we inform our brain. Hey, have you noticed that we're still so volatile emotionally? And we're regulating our nervous system while we're having that conversation. But before, it was just, there was no volatility. There was stability up here in dysregulation land. Right? So this is such good progress, and this is a treasure trove of awesome. If you've got lots of symptoms, you're about to have a massive transformation. If you feel like your kids would be better off without you, and you get your processor running, you're about to watch yourself become who you want to become, be the parent you want to become. In that distress is all that information about who you want to be and how you want to show up. And you get it processed and you get to watch yourself become that almost seamlessly. And so it almost sounds too good to be true, but it's the design. So that's all I have to say about that. And if you're in this situation where you feel like your kids would be better off without you, what you're going to need is nervous system regulation. There are interventions for this. I have a free program. You can try my favorite ones and the ones I use to walk people through this. You're going to need processing. In the beginning, you don't need anything fancy. You just need to use your intervention. It's going to create processing. Then you can use strategies and exercises to go through in a very systematic and targeted way and resolve these things in your inner world, these symptoms. I have a program for that, and that's called Inner World Transformation. And it's the process I use to walk people through healing their overcoming anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And also not just that, but also getting their brain to get their dream life cranking and happening and really customized to them. And then the last thing, courage. And you're going to need a lot of courage here, but the good thing is it's not on you, it's on your brain. Brains naturally make this, and you're going to watch yourself have a lot of courage. Because you probably got a lot of fear moving through your system, which means you have the raw material for your brain to make lots and lots of courage. Okay, so this is actually a good spot on the healing journey, and it's a tough one. And so get help if you need it. I'm available for one-on-one coaching. I have some small groups. I will absolutely jump in and help you with this. And you can use your local resources as well. So, and these programs I have. But if you need more support, get what you need. We have these challenges because we didn't get the support we needed. That's part of the correction, is getting the support we need. Okay, being in the community, that's actually helpful to us. So I'm cheering for you. I'm excited for you. And I really hope that you get to face this challenge with a little bit more pushback, with a little bit more sass, and a little bit more like, come at me. But not if you're not ready. You need to build your skills so that you really can. So you can walk your brain through this. So thanks for joining me. Bye.